Hi, I'm just some random guy off the internet. Thanks for stopping by. I thought I'd fire up my old webcam and not look you directly in the eyes because that's weird, and talk about stuff. What can I talk about? Stuff that matters, I hope. Stuff that brings you here because otherwise you wouldn't have found it because I'm not on social media anymore. I turned that right off, and I think the main purpose of this is more self therapy, kind of self-help, because I record a lot of stuff for myself, and I'm thinking, what if I actually did it online? What if I shared it? Maybe it's helpful for someone, and also how can I make sure it kind of becomes more of a permanent kind of thing that's just there. But it's really just as a, for me, just a brain dump, a mind kind of mind melt with the internet. No, a kind of brain dump, I guess. And totally be honest with you, I've got no subscription targets, no click this and the bell thing, and it's there are no adverts, and if I make money, great, but this is not about money. This is simply there to share. Um, Autism was something that I never really heard of, never came across, and until I was 42 or something. Basically, my marriage hit a bit of, well, it hit rock bottom, basically. Uh, and it's the worst thing for me is when people that I care about stop talking to me. So that kind of happened, and it sent me down a really, really dark path and a deep spiral. And um, we ended up in kind of couple therapy, and the good thing was that the guy kind of um, said after a few months of observation and all of that stuff, he said, I think I know what the root causes. I know what can happen here. And she said, really? Tell us. And turns out it's autism. Hey. And I'm like, what the hell is autism and what does that even mean? And he described certain things, and he said, look, there's you're struggling to kind of do the thing that you want to do and communicate how you want to do, and you will never succeed with that because your brain simply is wired very differently, and the way you think and the way you perceive things is very different to the way neurotypical people do it. Hence, a lot of issues. Plus, the environment isn't really a lot of the time kind of fit to work with that. So a lot of the things that I have issues with, it started when I was young with attention deficit disorder, and that wasn't even a thing back then. Misunderstanding things that people say. I find myself talking and work a lot with people, and they say one thing, I say another, or I say one thing and they hear another, and I'm like, that's not what I'm talking about. This is not what I mean. I mean, this is simple. Why do you not get this? And they go like, well, for you it might be simple, but I don't know. You're not explaining it right, and I don't understand. And this happens with non-technical kind of issues. I work in kind of technology space, so I'm always been very good at listening and not judging people with IT problems, and then kind of go, how can I translate this for you? So I'm trying. I saw myself as a good communicator, and maybe that's true in that kind of context. But in a lot of cases, especially when stuff heats up and stuff goes really quickly, it's like, right, I need to make a decision. I need to calm this shit down. I need to, oh, by the way, that's going to be swearing. If you're not cool with swearing, sorry, that's going to be fucking swearing. So, yeah, I need to put order into the chaos. And if it goes too quickly, I try to slow it down. But often in social situations or work situations, you can't do that. So lots of things. And he described it, and it made sense to me when he described it. And said, okay, great, that's got a name. I've got a name now for a lot of stuff that happened in my life that wasn't right. It didn't work for me, and I had issues with, especially relationships. And my ex-partner now said, yeah, that makes sense. I know the guy. Sorry, I'm on his way to sleep. I went to through with 15 years old or whatever, and so it makes sense. So cool, she agreed. And then the thing that kind of really fucked me up was her saying, right, so you're saying he can't change? You're saying I need to change? I don't want to change. That's not fair. It's not my fault he can't read between the lines and he can't do these things. Like, what would happen if what? I'm really, to this day, very, very, very upset because it's this idea of I have to kind of adjust to somebody else's needs. I think it's the crux of the matter, and that's what I want to talk about in this video. This is unscripted stuff, like I said, brain dump. I don't want to make it too rambly, but it's about the environment and it's about the people in that environment, and we can't always choose the people we are sharing an environment with. And in my case, I would prefer to be at home and be quiet and have a nice structure, and I don't really see anybody. I just talk to them over the phone or the internet, unless they're loved ones, in which case I do want to see them, obviously. It's just maybe even not all the time, but there's a weird duality. There are people that I want to see obsessively, regularly, like every second of the day, and that's something I need to kind of be aware of and calm down. But I'm probably overdoing it. But anyway, that's a topic for a different conversation. The point is about environment and controlling it, and work is driving me mad. I hate it because they're going to sold me on the idea of you be able to work from remote, and you don't have to come in every day, and the open office nature of the place is just insane. It's loud, noisy. You've got all the social BS happening where people just go, it's like, hey, how was your day? And like, you don't care how my day is, and you don't want to know the answer, so I'm just going to say, fine, how are you? And I say, yeah, fine. It's like, why? Just fuck off, get on with your day. And it's frustrating and challenging, and you're thinking you've got these people who even now got emotional first aiders. That was this thing they started doing, I think, fairly recently. But they're all about, like, we're a corporation and we want to be providing the right work environment, and they didn't specifically call autism out, but it's all about mental health. And I'm thinking, I have issues with mental health. I have massive anxiety issues. I have sensory issues, but now I can articulate it in a way. I can put some context behind this. But how do I explain it to them? How do I talk to them about the sometimes panic? I mask, I hide all of these things very well because they are not. I don't want people to think that I'm a weirdo. I don't want people to treat me differently. But actually, I wish they would. I wish I could just say, a bright yellow or red T-shirt says, I'm an autistic person. My brain works differently. I have certain requirements. By the way, here's a card. This is what my requirements are. I want people to stop thinking that I'm disabled, because I'm not. And I want people to stop thinking that masking all these kind of skills mean that I'm faking it or I'm pretending somebody. I'm not. I'm just trying to communicate with you in a way that makes it appropriate and beneficial. I think that's a skill that I managed to develop. I'm always trying to focus on the person I'm talking to and kind of mirror their kind of way of talking. So if you're like, oh, what's up? I'm a bit more relaxed. If you're a bit more formal, I'll be a bit more formal. If you're a bit more, I don't know. It's individual. So it's really hard when you have a group of people because you don't know. You kind of go, who's the leader of that pack? And I find a way to kind of deal with it by saying, okay, one way I can overcome some of this social anxiety and general anxiety with dealing with people, larger groups of people, is I'll be in charge. I'll go in and say, all guns blazing, hey, I'm Mr. X, and how you're doing, and whatever. I'll basically go massively confident, and I find that it's really helpful because I can control it, and people like it. I know there's the opposite, and I sometimes have that as well, where I go like, I want to blend into the wall. I don't want anybody to talk to me now, and I don't want anybody to ask me any questions. I don't even want to be here. Mostly weddings and funerals, but also other social events. So it's really hard. I do like it. I do like social contact, but in with specific conditions attached to it, which makes it difficult when you deal with people who organize these things, or perhaps your loved one, and you think, how can I explain to them that I need certain things, like, can you tell me who's going to be there? Can you tell me when it starts, when it ends? Will there be food? What drinks will there be? Is everybody going to be drunk? How do we get there? How do we get back? There's loads of things that are in my mind about how this works, and normally people just go, from 8 o'clock or something, don't know, you can eat something, maybe there will be food, and often or not, it turns out there's actually started at 7, as everybody just kind of WhatsApped, and they just invited themselves earlier or whatever, or they come later. It's like, oh yeah, we said from 8, but nobody really ever turns up until 11. It's like, what? Or people say there's food, and then it's like bar snacks type stuff, and you're thinking, okay, that's difficult, and you're gonna have to go. It's like, because sometimes I go out to parties, not very often, but when I go, it's like, so you said there's going to be food, so my expectation is I'm going to be fed. I'm vegetarian / vegan as much as I can, and I'm going like, oh, you only have meat stuff, and they're like bar snacks type things. So I haven't eaten because I didn't want to be rude and arrive and not be hungry. So shit, what am I going to do now? So that happened a lot. And yeah, it's my friends kind of want to understand, which is great, and the people that love me hopefully want to understand, and I'm quite happy because I do have people around me who do care and who do want to understand, but they're struggling because they go like, I don't want to bring my burdens to you, so I want to not talk to you. And go like, no, do talk to me, especially when you're deciding not to talk to me, do talk to me. But in terms of environment and this spontaneity and the kind of social stuff that people expect, it's like, I'm struggling with it, but understand that I love you, or you're my friend, my partner. I want to be with you and I want to do stuff. So provided this can happen in a slightly more organized way, then I'll be less stressed and we have a better time. And for some people that's like, it's a bit much. Maybe you can find somebody who we like who doesn't have these requirements. And a lot of people from with a neurotypical kind of mind go, I don't understand what you're talking about. And then you try to explain, and then you use the wrong words, and then it might turn out to not be very good. But I don't want to leave this on a negative. I want to say that, if you communicate your requirements to the people that you care about, or that matter in the context in which you approach it at work, you don't have to necessarily tell them that you're autistic, but you can tell them little key bits and say, here are the top 3 things that I need from you. I need a meeting agenda. I need you to be clear about what we're meeting about, where we're meeting, how long the meeting is going to be, and what you're expecting from me. And I think if you keep it concise and you don't muddy the waters by saying, oh, by the way, I'm autistic, I have these requirements, and you just say, hey mate, thanks for the meeting invite, doesn't seem to have an agenda, could you tell me what it's about? and then, maybe can you send me an email with it? It's still hard, and it sometimes doesn't work, but it's a good starting point. The more often you do it, I think you find that people kind of learn that you're one of those people who need specific details, um, which for some people, depending on what industries you work in, can be like, ugh, here we go, Mr. X again, who needs it very specifically spelled out. And like, I can be spontaneous too, but then don't complain that we're just shooting the shit. If you want to have a productive time, tell me what the hell it is we're actually doing here. So little and often, and try not to scare the punters. But I wish I could just come out openly and people say, yeah, I know what autism means. I know what base requirements you have, because I think if there's a general understanding of the very common kind of traits or requirements that we have in terms of communication and controlling the environment, or having an environment that is making us more, open to having whatever it is that we're having, that'd be great. Although I don't want anybody to think that's about being disabled or having specific. Some people have it really extreme, and yes, absolutely, and that's really, really hard. But I'm trying to say, let's meet in the middle. Let's find a common ground and some compromise, because ultimately we all want the same thing. We want to be understood, and we want other people to understand us, and we want to have a positive time together. And on that note, thank you very much for watching. If you have comments, please do comment. If you want to drop me a private note, you can do that too. I'm not sure I'm going to reply to it, but I'll try. It's encrypted. It's using a service called Proton Mail. If you sign up for a free account, you don't have to use your real name. You can encrypt messages on the platform, are automatically encrypted, and yeah, it's a privacy friendly and safe to use non-ad sponsored email service. So anyway, thanks. Bye bye.